Good morning, Vietnam.
Yeah, it's just going to be the intro right there. So the intro to this first podcast is just you saying "Good morning, Vietnam," which I mean, "Good morning, Vietnam." If you live in Vietnam, you should
It's
totally
high noon somewhere in the world.
find in somewhere. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, which is why next to me I have water.
Like, of all the things to drink, why alcohol at 5 a.m.?
It's I, I almost fell for that. Want you to know. I stopped myself. I felt the board coming toward my head, and I'm like, nope, wait, this is bait. This is bait. Yeah, I like the idea of the sanity points being questions you can just ask us.
I have a lot more followers than I thought I did.
You have a ton of followers on Twitter. I was like, we might have some overlap in Twitter followers after this. How many do you have? And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've lost a lot of momentum because of my crippling insecurities.
Damn.
But hey, I'm catching up. I think, maybe, possibly. I think I've done a decent job. I love my audience. I love all of you. I wouldn't be here without you. Actually, maybe I will. I don't know. I'm kind of badass like that. Am I over projecting?
Do I
Very
start off
likely.
with a hot topic?
Go ahead.
How do you feel about like YouTubers and content creators ending their videos with "I love you"?
That's cool.
Oh, okay.
Because at some point, okay, for me, it depends on how genuine it feels, right?
Mm,
Because I think that's the thing for me. Like, even if like there's the whole like psychological theory of you don't get when you watch somebody on YouTube, you don't get attached to the person, you get attached to the projection of them on your screen. There's like an entire field of psychology on that. At the end, on the other side, there's still a person. And the person can very much be grateful for the audience that let them do what they love, right?
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
while it can be corny, I feel like if it's genuine, go ahead. Like I'm not above like some good corny sentimentalism. If anything, I feel like that's something we're desperately lacking nowadays. Which actually, this is a subject that might come back full 20 with a full 180 when we actually get to the questions.
Full circle.
Full circle, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
So
Yeah.
ask
I
us questions.
okay. Cool.
How many points should I make?
For me, I am a person who values. I don't know. It's like genuine. It's not genuinity. That's not a word. Like a
Authenticity, I
genuine.
think is the word.
What is it?
Authenticity might be the word you're looking for.
Authenticity. Yes. I prefer authentic things and authenticity between people. So like if I saw it, I loved you to chat. I mean, it doesn't work kind of well right now because I know most of the names of the people in chat like in person. But like in general from a video, it's like if we ran to each other across the street, they know a lot about me just because of the stuff I've told the ether. But like I wouldn't know anything about them. So it'd be like a weird kind of unequal dichotomy where I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
appreciative of that you all are here and you like the content and everything, but we don't have a personal connection.
Yeah.
But that's just how I am. I realize that that's kind of a weird, an unusual way of looking at things, which will be fine. Yes, it's amazing.
Yeah, because like love is a very loaded word as well, right? Because love can range from anywhere from I appreciate this to oh, I want this in my body.
Yeah, exactly. That's why multiple cultures have multiple words for love, like meaning various degrees. English is not one of them.
Because like yeah, like ending a stream with I appreciate you doesn't have the same ring as I love you, right?
Yeah, which is why I
It's
usually
a
say have a good day.
it's a four-letter word that rolls off the tongue nicely. Love. Love.
I just say have a good day. Because it's also a good send-off for at any time. So try not to say like, oh, have a good Friday, everyone. Because if you're listening to this, it might not be Friday. So.
Look, dude, like, if my editor didn't have to leave to like film school and I kept on doing YouTube, like through like some awkward genetic mutation, I feel like my send-off would have turned out to be like something around the lines of Pembus. So
okay.
Pembus end stream.
All right. You just say something random at the end.
Chuckle Puffs.
Chimere.
So, what do you name people? What do you call people that are in podcasts? Podcasters? Casters? Potters?
Asshats? I don't know. I figured I'd throw something out here.
Ask the asshats question.
My send-off would be fuck you. You know what? That's fair and reasonable.
Demonetized.
Demonetized, exactly. I don't know. Okay, so podcast. Fun fact: we don't have a name for this yet. I had a really cool name for the podcast when it was our original concept, but then both of us looked at each other and were like, "Meh, we don't have time for that."
Ain't no good time for that.
Nope. We were supposed to trade series. Like, Thwill here would read a novel that I recommend to him, and I would read like a manga, and then both of us were like, yeah, so here's what we should do. It's like, cool. 3 months later, I'm like 20 chapters in, and I don't even think Thwill's started yet. So I was like, let's just start anyway, and let's just talk about writing, because we're both very busy individuals.
Life hits you hard, bro.
Yeah. So we don't have a podcast name. So hey, the wonderful chat. If you got a podcast name, go ahead and put it in throughout this entire podcast episode. That'd be fantastic. Just leave it for the ether, because I think every podcast I listened to started with no name in the first episode, and then just let other people decide. We got some good ones. Actually, I'm gonna go over here and do this real quick.
We're gonna name this podcast Polish Black Tea.
Oh, because Black Russian is a drink that I've been having recently. It's like a coffee liquor mixed with vodka. It could be Black Polish.
I was being sarcastic.
I know, that's how these usually start. It has to do something with writing, though, because that's our topic for the podcast. Is talking.
Wait.
The void. All right.
Shut the fuck up, Clockwork GM.
Yeah, too long, not marketable. Think it's something we can merchandise later. I mean, shows our integrity as podcasters. Yeah, that's the lingo. If you can't tell in chat, I'm a fan of hyperbole, so I will be saying that this series sucks and is the worst thing imaginable, and then be backpedaling a lot. Or saying something is really, really good and the best thing since sliced bread, and also backpedal and say it's really average. Because if you have an opinion, it's worth having that opinion 100%. Plus, it'd this be a very boring podcast if all my opinions were like, it's all right.
Apparently, I have some very entertaining reactions from what I've heard from people. So I guess we're going to see this on full display.
Okay, so I'm going to give some hyperbole opinion, and then you're going to just bounce off the walls.
All right.
So, Thwill.
Yes. That isn't being my name.
I have some questions that I posted. And by the way, I'm Slowpoke Writer. I actually should introduce who I am. if people don't know, gosh darn it all, I'm Slowpoke.
Yeah.
Slowpoke Writer. I do YouTube videos every once in a blue moon. And this is Thwill. He did art for the channel that you see. So I'm recording this and putting this up on YouTube. So this is the artist.
Hi. I make questionable life decisions. Pleased to meet all of you.
Nice. Ominous. So I thought we could kick off today by having two very basic questions and one really interesting question. The fun question that I think both of us are kind of eager to get into.
All right. I feel like which question we start with will dictate the mood of this entire podcast. Do we start with positivity, or do we start absolute gorilla ape shit?
I think positivity.
Positivity?
Yeah, positivity is good to start. Get off on a good
Positivity?
foot.
All right.
Positive vibes. So, Thwill,
All right.
what's your favorite, and we're going to use story for this one and be super la-di-da fluff language, because we're going to be talking about writing in video games, books, manga, anime, cartoons, TV shows, movies, all that good stuff. So we're just going to say story. Thwill, what is your favorite story?
See, when you first asked me this question like a few weeks back, I expected a rather simple answer. I was looking at my stuff and like, what are some of my favorite things ever? And a lot of video games showed up. And I realized that they were some of my favorite, but it wasn't just because of the story. It was like an amazing experience, either because of the visuals or the gameplay or the music, but it wasn't just the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to like dismantle most of my favorite media, trying to separate my appreciation from the art and everything else to pinpoint just the story. And while I think that I can probably dig further, as of right now, I think that on a pure story basis, my favorite story is probably All-Star Superman.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I grew up on the DC animated universe.
I'm gonna cut you off real quick. Chat is saying music is too loud.
Yeah. I'm balancing it right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to cut it.
Because Yeah, because I grew up on the... Actually, let me just mix this before I start talking again. There we go. Yeah. Because I grew up on the DC animated universe. Because my mom was actually a massive superhero fan. So she got us into it really young. So Batman the animated series, Superman the animated series. Yeah, I grew up on that. And upon reaching my teenage years, a lot of your tastes begin to change, right? You become moodier, things become way darker. You're like, ugh, that's bullshit. Lower.
Yeah.
Yeah, where was I?
Your tastes change.
Yeah, and then you're like, man, life's not that bright. This is stupid. And you start gravitating more towards flawed villains, anti-heroes, and stuff. And then that story showed up. And like All-Star Superman really brought... It really opened my eyes on a lot of things. Namely that people don't do good because it's easy. They don't become inspirational because it just comes naturally to them. There's always a person, a man, a woman, behind any act of goodness. Without the choice of doing good, it would have no meaning whatsoever. And that story single-handedly just redeemed Superman in my eyes. Joke's on you, Clockwork GM. If they would have, if they could, they would have done it a long time ago. But yeah,
I am.
because I'm sure a lot of you have probably seen the meme. Um, the meme of the girl, the suicidal girl that's off a cliff. Not a cliff, off a skyscraper. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can find it real quick. See, if I had good foresight, I would have planned this ahead of time. But yeah, this meme. I mean, no, it's not a meme, but I mean, I guess it is a meme, considering that meme is anything that is related to culture. But who cares about semantics? But yeah, like this one. Yeah. Like that comic strip basically tells you everything that you need to know about that comic and that story in general. The girl dropping her phone, ready to make the jump. Your doctor really did get held up. It's never as bad as it seems. You are much stronger than you think you are. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm unfamiliar with Superman in general. I grew up as a Spider-Man fan, so whenever I hate to say it, but Zack Snyder's Man of Steel was my first Superman thing I've ever saw.
Oh, you poor soul.
Yeah, I know. So I saw this comic and I'm like, well, I like this Superman. This Superman seems cool. Although I will say that Superman Man of Steel by Zack Snyder is the best Dragon Ball Z movie we've got so far. Because the plot's literally the same as the Saiyan saga, so you know.
I read this backwards because I'm so used to manga. Fucking nerd. But yeah. I guess for the sake of this podcast, I'm gonna have to spoil the story as much as I would love for you to. I mean, you can probably look up the wiki later. So basically, the big TLDR is, there is a group of scientists that are tasked with gathering solar energy from the surface of the sun. The mission goes wrong, and Superman goes straight in there to save them. But by going onto the sun and saving them, he absorbed way too much solar energy. So he basically gets sun cancer. But because he absorbed so much energy, he is stronger, smarter, like his body is jacked up. So basically it's the entire series is about how the even like the strongest man cannot avoid death, and what is his legacy going to be, knowing that his days are numbered. So basically, the challenge is never like a confrontation, because Superman has always been strong. He's like probably the strongest superhero in fiction, and right now he's like supercharged, so he's even stronger than usual. But it becomes a matter of morality, of building up his legacy, making sure that the people he loves will be able to live on after he's gone. Heck, it's even, I think one of my favorite parts of that entire story is when Lex actually finds out that Superman is dying. So, yeah, he finds out that Superman is dying. He through some convoluted stuff, he ends up stealing a formula that lets him duplicate Superman's powers. And through obtaining Superman's powers, he ends up understanding Superman more. He's like, wait, this mother trucker has this much power. He sees all of this every day, and yet he still chooses to do good. And then he loses the powers, and he's like, why did you take away those powers? I was finally beginning to understand everything. I could have saved humanity. And Superman just tells Lex, "Hey Lex, you could have saved humanity ages ago." And Lex just looks down like, "Fuck, you're right. I let my ego dictate my actions." Like he beats Superman, just tears down everybody just by being the better person in the room. And that is just something that I just gives me butterflies, you know? It makes
Mm-hmm.
me happy.
Yeah, yeah. It's an
It's
aspect of
like,
Superman that I've seen and can appreciate where the best Superman comics aren't about his powers, and the people who like really misunderstand Superman just focus on how strong he is. Looks at camera, looks at Zack Snyder.
yeah. I mean, yeah, like a lot of people misunderstand Superman. Like there's that one clip from Kill Bill where the dude is like, "Hey, Clark Kent is his facade. Superman is the real man." No, 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 no. Superman has always been Clark Kent. Like there's a side comic that's not in All Star Superman, but like there's a side comic where um he is forced to be like Clark Kent died. So he was forced to be Superman 24/7, and he was actually beginning to lose his mind because at his heart he is very much human, and being forced to be a superhero all the time was making him like actually kind of lose patience with stuff. Because Clark Kent is the real Superman. Like Superman is his suit. He is very much reverse Batman in that sense. Because for Batman, Batman is the real Bruce Wayne. Public Bruce Wayne is his facade.
Yeah, I would say that fits. That comment definitely fits more for Batman than for Superman.
Yeah. So there's like the animated movie that is a very good adaptation of the comic. It's like an hour and a half. I would strongly recommend it. I think you would appreciate it. Cause yeah, Superman, I would say Superman, Spider-Man is at first. Um, yeah, I would probably put Spider-Man, Superman, Wolverine, and then Batman. That
Wolverine
would
is
be where
that
I.
high for
And,
you?
yeah,
Really?
dude, Wolverine's a badass.
Well, okay, yeah. I can't argue with that logic.
But look, dude, I don't put Wolverine up there because of the deep moral dilemmas that his existence. He's a raw savage, and he's cool.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair and reasonable.
I mean, okay. The funniest part is like there is some interesting morality with Wolverine. Like, I'm making a joke here, but like he has a lot more stuff going on than the X-Men movies let on. I think Logan is actually like a good window into the narrative potential of Wolverine. I'm not sure if you've seen it.
I have not. I need to, though.
Knowing you would love it. You would love Logan.
It's on my to-do list. It's a fairly big list, but it's on there.
Yeah. Yeah. Because reviewing my list of favorite stories, there's Slowpoke Robo that I like a lot, that I love, probably my favorite game. Like at least if not easily top three, but Slowpoke Robo is like a video game, so it's not just the story. It definitely has one of my favorite plot twists in it though. Then there's a lot of anime that's on there, but a lot of my favorite manga and anime is also an an audio visual medium. So it's like, how much of it is just the story? How much of it is
Mm.
like the animation and everything else? So yeah, so just the story for now. All Star Superman might change later if I think about it more, but yeah.
Yeah. That's fair and reasonable. That's why when people look at me and they say, "What's your favorite video game?" I'm like, "Oh, Bloodborne." It's like a video game story. I'm like, shoot. guess Witcher 3, maybe? I don't know. Because it's a lot more, it's harder to get media from, or like to see a story through like the eyes of a video game, because it definitely could be other aspects and things looking at you like music or visuals or stuff. Even in stories, sometimes it's like the world is great, but the characters are bland. The plot's kind of boring.
Yeah.
Which actually did happen to a book that I read, and then I was talking to people about it, where halfway through the book I was like, this is the best book in the world, and I'm at the end, and I'm like, this book is miserable. I don't like this book. And I told 2 other people about it, and they're like, dude, same, actually. And I'm like, what? What madness is this? Why is everyone having the same reaction in this book? Fascinating study case. Okay. So you want to know what my favorite part about this discussion is?
Do tell.
Is I'm like, all right, what's your favorite story? And you're like, man, I have this comic strip series, because I looked this up. It was published in from 2005 to 2008. Really good series. And then you're like, hey, Mason, what's your favorite story? May 26th, 1897. This story was released. On the opposite end of Superman, you get... Do you want to take a guess while I drink some water?
Is it Lord of the Rings?
No.
No.
It's a very good guess, though, I think. I don't know when that was published, but... Thwill, let's talk about an absolute monster. Let's talk my favorite story, being Dracula by Bram Stoker.
Oh boy.
So...
Which version of Dracula? How many versions of Dracula since then?
A ton. So many. The book that basically said, hey everyone, vampires exist, and everyone was like, OMG, vampires are cool, and then made vampires into, everything. So,
But do they sparkle in that one?
No, they don't actually. And Dracula doesn't even explode when he walks out into the sun. He could just walk around in daylight, which was so surprising to me because of the way Dracula, the myth of vampires has evolved over time. Them actually deleting themselves in sun was a Nosferatu thing. It wasn't a Dracula thing. So Dracula is my favorite, mostly because reading Dracula is like lighting a match and watching it go closer to your thumb and forefinger, and you can't move it. You're just watching this happen. It is such a slow burn that grabs your attention. I absolutely love it. The characters, I don't think I can sort the character. Yeah, it's such a complex book. There's a lot going on at the same time. Book begins with spoilers for literally everything we talk about on this podcast, by the way. I'm not even getting problems. So spoilers from a book from 1897. If you didn't read it yet, to be fair, you have only had a certain amount of time to do that, but that's not my problem. Okay.
Get bent idiots.
So Dracula begins with a guy, an absolute Chad named Jonathan Harker, who goes up to Dracula's castle. He's an insurance agent, or not an insurance agent, what would he be called? He's like a guy who helps rich people move in the 1800s. Because Dracula's like, hey, I want to move to London. Can you help me move to London? And he's like, yeah, sure, fam. And he gets there, and he's like, whoa, there's no one else in this castle. That's weird. And he's talking to Dracula, and Dracula's talking about, yeah, he's a real estate agent. He talks to Dracula about, how to move and the history of London and everything, and a bunch of people are like, don't go up to the castle. Please don't go up to the castle. The devil lives there. And he's like, what? That's weird. Lamau. That's weird. Anyway, walks up there. A lady gives him a crucifix, and he's like, oh, I took it because she seemed so scared. I didn't know what to do. So he stays there for a while. He needs to move so much dirt. Yes, that is a plot point. Yes. Dracula, which I'll get into in a bit. So he's moving all this stuff there. He's moving boxes of dirt, and Jonathan's like, that's weird. And over time, he's learning that he's a monster. And he, like, wakes up in the middle of the night, and he looks out the window and sees Dracula, like, crawling downstairs, like, crawling on the wall upside down. And he goes out and...
absolute chat he is.
Like the absolute chat he is. And Dracula goes out, he comes back, and, like, brings back a boy in a sack, like a reverse evil Santa Claus. And then, like, the mom of the village, like, runs up and is screaming at Dracula to give his son back, and he just, like, snaps his fingers, and you hear howling of wolves as wolves descend on the gate, and then they just cut away. And then I'm trying to build this up, but I'm doing a horrible job of it.
I can feel the excitement. Don't worry.
Yeah. So Jonathan's like, oh my gosh, he's a monster. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to explore this castle. Oh my gosh, I tried to explore a little bit, and then 3 vampire women tried to suck my blood. Oh my gosh, this is scary. So Dracula's like, hey, write these letters to your now wife that you just married like a week ago. And he's like, wrote something in there, and then the Count handed the letter back to him and said, hey, you spoke bad about me, don't do that. And he's like, oh, he's gonna kill me. Okay, so he tries to leave the door at night, and so he's like, I can't get out the door, but this window's open. So he crawls on the side of a castle like Spider-Man, gets over to another section of the castle, goes down, sees Dracula, and in his coffin, he's got to move a bunch of dirt because that's where he gets his power from the actual, like, from the actual land or everything. It's strange. It's like dark powers of the earth as well as him. So he, like, takes a shovel, hits Dracula in the face with it. Dracula screams at him but can't get up because he's doing the nappy. And then he goes upstairs and he's writing in his journal. And he's like, I'm going to try to escape tomorrow over the wall. I'll probably be torn apart by wolves. I have no choice. Because Dracula's written all in, like, accounts of, like, written diary logs and newspaper clips and whatever. Stuff like that. Helpfully, Jonathan Harker and his wife have a habit of writing in code. Yes, they do have a code they write to each other, like thieves can. And then the book cuts. And Thwill, I'm not joking when I say, it takes probably 15 chapters to learn what happened to Jonathan. You're just like, he's dead. He's dead, Jim. He's so dead. And it cuts over to his wife and, you know, her friend having vacation. Like, they're having a good time and stuff is cool, and they got this vacation retreat. Then a boat appears, crashes into the harbor. The guy is, like, dead at the helm. Like, his wrists and arms latched to the actual steering rudder, and you get his account, how Dracula basically tore open this entire... tore open this entire way. So it's a very slow burn of a book, and like 2/3 of it, no, not even 2/3, for a third of it, Dracula's in London. Like, just think about that for a minute.
Damn.
Yeah, Dracula's in London. And When Wolves Cry Out is rating with a party of 10. Why, thank you. See, I talk about Dracula and I summon wolves. This is how good I am. I may or may not be Dracula. See, the book is a very slow burn. It's very well written. It has this weird habit of the characters are characters. I don't think I could archetype them very well. They just kind of feel like people, you know what I mean?
I don't know about you. I'm pretty good at archetyping people.
There's
the dumbass, the bigger dumbass, the one that disagrees with me, which makes him a dumbass.
I can see why this is so easy for you.
No. I'm jesting.
I really enjoy the book because it was probably one of the first books that kind of accounted for how the audience will react to something happening on the pages. There's a lot of like not showing the actual horrible things that Brahm does in this book, but he lets your imagination do the rest. So he's like, you're going to come up with something way more horrible than I am. I'm going to like lead you into this area and then just throw you off the cliff. Like Looney Tunes style.
Je vois, je vois.
It's my favorite story of all time. Could gush about it all day. Dracula's a Chad, by the way. Kind of. He's like the cross between a Chad and a petulant man-child, but that's like the point.
Hey, at least nobody killed his wife in that version.
Oh no, he has like 3. He just wants another one. Yeah. Trope Talk actually has a really good video on Dracula that kind of covers it. So, I cannot wait for the doodle of Dracula Superman. That just does not mix whatsoever. Yeah. That's my favorite story, Dracula.
Dracula. So, they end up living happily ever after, right? Right?
Yeah, yes, I will say. Spoiler for Dracula. Well, all except for, like, actually for, like, 4 or 5 people. Yeah, but the mythology of vampires and Dracula itself has evolved over time to just kind of adding some stuff for interpretation. So it gets really interesting. So yeah, that's just watching you do something right now. So you want to move to London? Yes.
See, I wasn't planning on doing this, but like I kept hearing you talking about it, so I'm like, I need to do this.
Yeah. So you want to move to, that's actually just the beginning third of the book. So you want to move to London. Very fitting that you're talking about Dracula around Halloween. I would be talking about Dracula even if it wasn't Halloween, because that's my favorite book.
All right, superfluous detail, but how did they describe Dracula's hair in the book?
I think it was slicked back.
Slicked back?
I know he had a mustache. Like that I do know. He had like a thick caterpillar mustache. Because he looked like an old man until he fed on blood, and then he turned into like a young
man. Speaking about Dracula, I think that's probably like... Okay, do you know about epic rap battles of history?
Yes.
So, they had one that was basically Dracula versus Vlad the Impaler.
Oh, okay.
And one of the top comments back when I watched the video was, man, the only time where... Actually, let me... Because I don't want to paraphrase, because it was actually a legitimately funny comment. Okay. Let me find it.
You look for that. I think one of my favorite parts of the book is just when 2 characters are walking in a park in London, and they're like, this guy Dracula's going to come. He's going to kill everyone. It's going to be terrible. And they look to the left, and Dracula's sitting on a bench, like checking out a woman who's like on a wagon cart, like, ooh, dinner. And then one of the characters just starts hyperventilating because he recognizes him.
Oof.
It's like so terrifying, but so funny. It's like, this man is evil. We have to watch out for him. And they pass him by on the park bench, and he's like, hello. Ah!
All right.
If
I
you
found the
watched the
comment.
movie, how would it compare? You have to tell me which Dracula movie. Because I've only
There'll be a
seen
lot
the
of
one.
those.
I've only seen one Dracula movie. It might about the best doctor. Either Abraham Van Helsing or Dr. Stewart, I think. Oh, by the way, listen to the Audible version if you want a really good version of Dracula to listen to, because like the voice actors they get for that is really cool. Especially because like the voice actors narrating the audiobook, they're doing so in the voice of a character because it's written first person in like journal entries. So like, but they'll try to sound like another character. So it's like the voice actress for Mina is trying to sound like Abraham Van Helsing. I have not seen the older ones. But if I dig into Dracula movies, we might end up somewhere different. So Thwill.
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Do ask.
All right. You want to move to the next topic?
No. Because I found the comment I wanted to mention.
Okay.
Because, like I said, they did an epic rap battle of Dracula versus Vlad the Impaler, and one of the top comments was, "It says a lot about human brutality when your human version is scarier than your monster version."
Well, especially because Dracula was probably based on not just Vlad the Impaler, the Wallensian prince, but probably also based on the Countess Elizabeth Bathory, who was a Hungarian noblewoman and also a serial killer. So yeah, that's probably the scary part, is Vlad the Impaler was probably worse than Dracula was. Man, I would go to... You can go to, like, Vlad the Impaler's castle that Dracula's castle was inspired by, but it's like a tourist trap. It makes me sad.
What about it?
It's a tourist trap. Instead of focusing on, like, history, they're like, whoa, this is Dracula Castle, la la la. And it's like, oh, jeez. Yeah, the woman that bathed in virgin blood. Yes, that one. Yep, that's the girl. Yep.
I do love me some virgin blood.
If you think an author came up with that, I have bad news for you, chat. Bad news. Hey, Thwill. What's your least favorite story? Because we talked about our favorite.
All right. Give me a moment. There's only one way to start this. All right. So, my least favorite story.
Uh-huh.
All right, Mason. What makes a story good, in your opinion?
Ooh, it's a very broad question.
I know.
Gosh, I have no idea. Intent, intelligence, writing. I don't know. Because you can have a story that's good for different reasons, right?
Right. So, for that reason, my qualifiers for what makes a story good is a story is a tale that manages to keep a consistent lie. Because that's what stories are in a sense, right? They're a lie that you convince yourself to believing they can be true, right? That's what fiction is. It's a lie you choose to believe, in a way.
I guess that's just how people can look at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not how I look at it, but
I mean, Yeah. So what happens when you have a story that is already something that doesn't exist, right? And in its in its own compulsive lie, keeps bullshitting you day in and day out. You're like, dude, that doesn't make any sense. You told me you did a backflip out the window, but I saw you doing that backflip. That's not how it happened. No, dude, I'm telling you. Like, it keeps retconning shit day in, day out. Lying about power scaling. Lying about abilities. Characters that die keep getting brought back over and over again. Ass pools keep showing out of people's anuses all the time. Characters that have the power of blowing up actual continents end up being defeated by dick slaps because they didn't believe hard enough. Tell me that. Does that sound like a fun time, Mason? Does that sound like a fun time?
It sounds like you end up in the world of, okay, author, what happens next?
No.
They win. Why? I said so. It's like, all right.
Yes, Chad. You've guessed correctly.
My
most hated story of all time. It's indeed fairy tale. Boy, I can talk about fairy tale for hours. And I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fucking do it.
There was a part of me. I figured it was an anime when you said power scaling that gets ignored. And I'm like, that's a very specific shonen anime problem.
I mean, it's a problem with Western stuff. Also, it's just a lot less specific.
Yeah, not to that scale.
Yeah, because, like, all right, for example, like, Batman has some serious power scaling problems. Because, like, you have Bane, right? Bane is the dude that is almost as smart as Batman, but he's on steroids. And Batman still finds a way to beat him every time. You're like, how has this happened? How do you do this? But, yeah. I get to jerk off to my hatred on fairy tale. I'm sorry in advance,
All
Not
right.
all our stories do this to me.
I know. It's amazing. All right.
See, the worst part about fairy tale is that it started pretty alright. That's the worst part. It started pretty okay. But then what ended up happening is that, like, see, what makes fairy tale worse for me is that it has the patterns of an abusive relationship. Like, if it started as garbage from the get-go, I'd be like, okay, fine. I'm taking the keys, I'm locking the door, I'm walking out. But no. No. It was like your friend that was, like, snorting cocaine in front of your face. And you're like, dude, you need to go to rehab. And sometimes they showed signs of progress. Like, they were getting out of it. And you're like, okay, dude, I believe in you. You can do this. And, like, the next art was kind of good. You're like, okay. And then the bullshit comes back. The bullshit comes back, man. Like, oh, okay. All right, calming myself down. Going in order here. All right.
Plot
So the story starts pretty all right.
I'm laughing for two reasons. I'm laughing because, one, the idea of, like, you being like, hey, fairy tale, you're getting over this abusive relationship. And it's like, yeah. And it turns around, trips over its own shoelaces into, like, a pile of cocaine and just starts snorting it. Just face down in there. But I also like it that your favorite series of all time, your favorite story of all time, All-Star Superman, was about a guy who had a lot of power, but he wins through moral victory. And your least favorite series, part of the problem stems from, powers go bonk.
See, because obviously there's a lot of ways you can see a story, but, like, all right, Griffey, I'll get to your question. Don't worry, because obviously there's a lot of ways you can see what a story is. But if we go with the mindset that a story is a lie, if we go with that mindset, the more consistent the lie is, the more believable it is, the more you can take it at face value. But like when the lie begins to contradict itself, that's when you start picking it apart. And I feel like that is the moment where suspension of disbelief kind of gets torn apart. Do you see my train of thought here?
Yeah.
So, as a reader, I'm someone who values consistency a lot. Like verisimilitude, realism, whatever. I'm a big fan of internal consistency.
Hmm.
Superman is the strongest dude on the planet, but the way he wins is consistent. Like, like it would be like if All Star Superman ended with Superman just punching guts through the gut and like dancing in his blood, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like you won the entire comic through victory, and now you're just like mortal. You're just like putting fatality on people. What the shit? Now take that now transposing that to fairy tale. I'm sure you can see the through line here. What the problem with fairy tale is.
Yes.
It's consistent in its lack of consistency, except when it isn't, where it just becomes consistently inconsistent in its consistency. That is a tongue twister, and I won't take it back. Cause like okay, the main protagonist, he has the power. Okay. No, I'm gonna answer Griffey's question because I'm gonna go on a tangent. So Griffey, fairy tale is so bad I haven't even read it, which makes me question whether my opinion on it is valid. But do I really want my limited time on Earth to be spent reading fairy tales? See, the thing with fairy tale is that the art is pretty good. Like the art is pretty good, and that's what got me into it. Because the author Hiro Mashima did a Monster Hunter comic, and that actually how I got into Monster Hunter. So I'm like, oh, I was like, hey, that's the author of the dude who made that Monster Hunter comic I liked. So I started reading fairy tale. The beginning was good, and that's where the abusive relationship analogy came in from. Because like it didn't start bad. It started a bit generic and by the numbers, got good, and then it started doing like all the hard drugs it could find. And like, dude, why are you doing this? Because by the way, 100% agree, they can all be good, they need something. Yeah, okay, glad we're on the same page here. Because like the good example of why it goes so batshit insane, the main protagonist's power, he has fire magic. Well, let me get an image of him real quick, because we be streaming. I can put images because I can do whatever I want. So.
I can't
Sorry,
for
Mason.
the YouTube. I can't for the YouTube listeners. So you know.
Yeah. So Mason, I'm sorry. We might not even have time to get to the third question because I'm gonna rant.
That's fine. It'll be good for next week.
Oh yeah. Because I'm. Oh. All right. So that's the protag. Pretty cool. Fire powers. All right. So that dude, he's a dragon slayer, which is already like a big retcon in the story. Because at the beginning of the show, dragon slayers are explained as people that have the power to kill dragons. Like their magic is specifically tailored to kill dragons. So because he's a fire dragon slayer, he has the power to eat fire. Like he can produce flames, he can consume flames. So that's why he's good against fire dragons. Because fire just doesn't work on him. It's an interesting power system. So most of his shit revolves around fire. Simple, has a lot of room to expand. Right. This is a good start. A good start. A good enough start. And then like he just starts eating everything. Right? Because I think the first big offender was there was that one arc when turns out like the bad guy was. Oh yeah, Fairy Tail is the best I've ever seen. Good point, smart Luxford. Yeah, so they were like on this magic, on this like super magic death ray, right? And they were getting their shit kicked in, and he was running low on magic. So the Giga Brain move he did, he started eating the crystal the death laser was made out of. And the logic was, okay, this death crystal absorbs all the magic. So logic would have it that there's fire magic in there somewhere. So he ate the crystal, digested its power, and gained a power boost. I'm like, okay, there is some logic. Because if this crystal absorbs all the magic, there should be some fire in there. And after the fight, he got food poisoning. So like, okay, there is some consistency. But then the show keeps going on, and he just starts eating everything. He starts eating lightning. He starts eating iron. He starts eating all the dumb shit that has nothing to do with his power set. And like everybody in the main cast has that problem where their magic system just gets thrown out the window because they need a plot hacks to win or just fuck logic. Because okay, do I go all in on Natsu? Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go per character. I'm gonna tear down every character one by one. Actually, let's do that. Let's do that.
And and for the kind of explain, like the problem here is that the stakes become zero, because essentially what you're doing is you're waiting for the author to solve the problem, just by saying they solved the problem.
No, see, I think Fairy Tail invented negative stakes, actually. It's not that there's zero stakes. Like, the stakes are dead ass in the negatives. Because there reaches a point where you actually want the villains to win. Because, like, the good guys are so insufferable. Like, unironically. Because, okay. Going further down the series, you end up realizing that Dragon Slayers aren't actually meant to kill dragons. I mean, they kind of are, but to become a Dragon Slayer, you need to be trained by a dragon. So it turns out that Natsu is actually a time traveler that lived 100 years in the past that got forwarded to the future by the mother of this chick. Like, yeah. And it's like, all right, guys. And it was a big plot point that, like, yeah, because they traveled to the future, they lost their parents and everything. Guess where the dragons were? Guess where they are? Guess where they were? Because there were other dragon slayers that I'm gonna get to maybe eventually, probably not, because I'm gonna give you your time to talk eventually. Well, like, yeah, they lost their dragon parents. Guess where the dragon parents were? Guess where they were?
Is that a rhetorical question, or am I actually guessing?
Answer.
I'm going to say they were hiding in time.
Even dumber than that.
Dumber than that? I can't go dumber than that.
Okay. So. There was an actually interesting mechanic that the show introduced. The show / manga. And you're going to see the pattern. Actually, you've probably already seen the pattern already. All right? So that the problem with Dragon Slayer magic is that the more you use it, the more you risk turning into an actual dragon. And in the setting, like, being born a dragon is alright, but being a human that is turning into a dragon is kind of a bad thing. Right? It's kind of a bad thing, because you end up losing your sense of self and becoming an endless creature of destruction. So, like, there were actually consequences for all those broken power-ups, and that was kind of interesting. Turns out, this entire fucking time, the dragons were inside their human children to prevent them from turning into dragons. So they were trying to find their dragon parents this entire time, and the bullshit was they were literally inside of them all along. How? Never explained. Fucking...
Did the author just look at Naruto and was like, hey, that's pretty cool? Wait a minute.
Not even. Not even. Cause we end up finding out. Cause okay, like you see this big emo boy up here, like this dude.
Yep.
Yeah, like this dude. This dude is the BEBG.
That.
The BEB. Yeah.
Yep. All
The
right.
BEBG that got introduced like two-thirds into the series. So, turns out this dude is the grandfather of magic and the creator of demons. Because he got cursed with immortality. And because of that, he ended up being cuckoo for Cocoa Puff, and he created demons in the hopes that one of them would become strong enough to kill him. Because literally nothing can kill him. So, we end up finding out that Natsu, like this dude, is a biologically engineered clone, a biologically engineered clone of his dead little brother that he enhanced with demon magic to kill him.
This is when you get to the point where you look at the author and you're like, okay, I'm an editor, you're an author. You need to stop. Like, you get time travel, dimensions, or cloning. You don't get all three. Because if you start introducing more than two, shit gets fucky real quick.
Where does the blue cat? Oh, I'm gonna get to the blue cat. Don't worry. I'm gonna get to the blue cat. Because there's literally an entire dimension of blue cats. So I'm gonna get on that. I'm gonna get on that.
It sounds like if the Metal Gear Solid was written by the guy who wrote Naruto. The Metal Gear Solid is written by a guy who wanted to he's like, I'm gonna research nuclear fusion, and then looked up the first paragraph on Wikipedia, then was like, that's good enough, and got bored and made balloons.
Because you know when I said that, like, yeah, the more you use dragon powers, the more you risk turning into a dragon. But like this dude is a dragon and a demon, so he had a dragon seed and a demon seed, and because he used both, he could turn either into a dragon or a demon. So like his dad, who was inside of him this entire fucking time, he's like, hey son, listen here. So you use too much power. You're either gonna turn to a demon or you're gonna turn to a dragon. Choose wisely. Like that was like in his like inner sanctum, because like IRL, like he was like comatose, he was like dying and shit. And he was dying. So like this was in his mind. He's like, so choose the dragon seed or the demon seed. Choose one or you're gonna die. He just like gets up, looks at his dragon dad, and he's like, I choose neither. I'm human. And his dad's like, right answer. Both the dragon seed and the demon seed just evaporate, and he wakes up.
Wait, so... No, I'm not going to say that. It's like, if you use this magic, and you keep using it this way, you'll turn into a dragon. So is there like a but in that statement? Or, no, you turn into a dragon. No, I got that. But is that a bad thing? I mean...
Yeah, like I said earlier, in this setting, a human turning to a dragon is a bad thing. Okay. Overall. It is considered a bad thing.
I'm just... It's like... You have to, like, specify that. It's like, is that a bad thing? Or, like...
I did mention it earlier.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did mention it in passing earlier, but like I did say it pretty quick. But
it's just, the unholy trilogy, I think, of hard writing concepts that people tend to splash into their series that they need to stop doing because it's actually really, really harmful. Cloning, time travel, and I would say dimensions have to be put in there as well. Because if you don't do these well, they're difficult to do, and if you don't use it well, hoo boy, you get some fucky wucky stories.
Oh, all right, all right. So, all right. So I'm gonna say how they beat the final boss for last, because like this entire roster
All right.
is a mess.
Okay,
So
so solve the problems with these characters in like one sentence. Like not all of them in one sentence, but like each of them gets one sentence.
Okay, one sentence.
The less context, the better.
Okay, Natsu. I already went through
Yeah,
Natsu.
you already did Natsu.
Yeah, I wasn't even done with Natsu, but
Oh.
for the sake of brevity, yeah, I'm just for Natsu. I'm gonna end with Natsu saying, like, So that dude fought that dude. That dude absorbed like ultimate magic. So he basically had the power of time magic and infinite magic. So Natsu tried to punch him. He blew up half a building, and the dude just rewound time to form his body back. So it's like, hey, dude, I'm invincible. You can't kill me. He slaps Natsu. Natsu is unconscious. Then Natsu wakes up, goes back to him again, tries to punch him almost the exact same way. He's like, dude, you punched me last time. This isn't going to work. But it started working. Try guessing why.
You already told me this before. It's because he burned time, right?
It's burned time. His fire burned time!
At that point, nothing fucking matters at that point. You're like, alright, you know what? Let me slide through and see all these fancy pictures, and then we're just gonna move on with my life. Cyanic Doodle, what? Yeah, no, that's the end. He burns time. Fire so hot as he burns time. That sounds
it's
like
not even just
something...
burn.
That sounds like something a 90s rapper would say.
It's not even
Spitting
time. He
so
burns
hot
time.
that they burn through time.
He burns time and infinity. Because it was, yeah, he had infinity magic and time. He burned through infinity and time at the same time. Alright, so that's Natsu. Then Urza. Urza, in one sentence. Wait, that's impossible. How did she do that? It's because it's Urza. That's her character. Like, that's her character. Like, that's her character. It's just she shouldn't be able to do that. Well, she did. Why? Because it's Urza. Like, turns out. Oh, Dustin, send me images. Let's look at that. Let's look at that. Oh, thanks, Dustin. Thanks, Dustin. I'm gonna put that. All right. So, yeah. So it turns out the redhead's mom is the queen of dragons. And she gave birth to her so that she could use her body to be as a reincarnation tool. Cuz her mom was a human that turned into a dragon, but turning to a dragon turned her insane and she wanted to become human again. So she's like, all right, daughter, I'm going to use your body to reincarnate and shit. After she's like, no, mom, I like my body. You can't take it. Her mom turned into her dragon form, bitch slapped her across the map, broke every single bone in her body, and is like, all right, if I cannot have your body, nobody can have it. So like, you know, like the Sephiroth move where he just fucking calls a meteor to like kill all of Midgard?
Sure.
Dragon Mom did that.
Ah.
Urza had every bone in her body.
Naturally.
Yeah. Urza had every bone in her body shattered except for her head and her right arm. She propelled herself into the air using her right arm and blew up a meteor the size of a country. All right, the size of a city. She blew up a meteor the size of a city.
I mean,
while her bones were shattered.
Sorry. You can do both and say the meteor the size of the country and city, Vatican. Vatican City, it's a country and it's a history joke.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, like, that's fine. Yeah, like, she blew up an entire meteor with just one arm. Like, it was so much bullshit. The Queen of Dragons just looked up, flabbergasted, and she was like, what is my daughter made out of? right? That would be like Zeus looking at Hercules freaking butt slam Atlas and like drop kicking Hades and be like, what? What the fuck? This dude, I didn't like him at first, but he ended up becoming my favorite character for no other reason that like he was the most consistent. Nothing much to say for Gray. He's all right. This girl in one sentence. Fan service.
It's not like half of the fairy tale cast, though.
Yeah. I mean, okay, some of them are fan service with personality. Some of them are fan service with no personality. See, I'm trying to find redeemable things here, alright? This dude.
Oh.
Fiction has this super gross trope of having purple reincarnate into other people's bodies and never addressing how that's heinous and that's a heinous act. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I hope it's the villain doing that.
Yeah.
What a Warhammer?
Or, you know,
no,
like...
that is. I was just about to say, has that happened in Warhammer 40k? And then my brain went, yes, it has. You see, it's fan service that is made fun of by the main protagonist for being fan service.
Oh yeah. Also, one of my most hated tropes, like as much as I like anime, like even I have tropes that I hate in anime, and one of my most hated tropes are the tropes of your friends breaking into your house and not respecting your privacy. Because in this show, they just decided that the blonde chick's house was their hangout place, and they're like, "Why are you in my house?" "Oh, we made doubles of your keys." And I'm like, dudes, why? Why do you do this? Like, if I was friends with someone like that, I would burn that friendship right away. Then there's this dude, black-haired dude over here, like this dude. Brings up another point with Fairy Tail. They redeem a lot of people through the power of friendship.
Oh, doesn't he just beat some girl nearly to death and like crucify her? But she doesn't die,
yes.
So it's fine.
Yes.
I remember that actually. Yeah, I do remember this character, and everyone was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, because Fairy Tail, at some point, the author was just like, "All right, I'm gonna make this dude so fucking evil. There's no way in hell they're gonna believe he's gonna get redeemed." Ends up getting redeemed anyway. So there's just ended up being like this massive backlog of characters that were genocidal maniacs, but have been redeemed by the power of love and friendship. And you're like, dudes, fucking why? Yeah, because in isolation, like, Gajil is one of my favorite characters in this show. Like, he's actually pretty cool. But it's all the baggage that he's carries with it. Because he ends up dating the girl he crucified, by the way.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
No, that's some psychology I don't want to dig into. No, we're gonna leave that one there. I'm not even gonna bother. Nope, that's some Criminal Minds shit right there. I'm not getting into that. Nope. Moving swiftly on.
Yeah.
I actually did watch like parts of Fairy Tail, but I stopped after a while, so I kind of understand things.
Yeah.
Isn't the girl in the bottom right with the blue hair, isn't her character trait she is in love with a guy, and then that's basically it?
Yeah. She does get a bit better later down the series. But, yeah. There we go. Yeah. So because of the redemption thing, like, the author just started having a pissing contest where it's like, alright, I'm gonna make the next villain so evil, so heinous, there's no way in hell they're gonna get redeemed. How about that? This dude crucified one of your favorite characters. This dude borderline raped someone. This dude set their house on fire. They don't gets redeemed.
That is quite a weird escalation. This guy crucified someone. This guy raped someone. This guy burned someone's house down. I'm like, I feel like these should be in a different order. I feel like.
I mean, they're not in order. They're not in order.
Oh, okay. I would say I think the burning of the house down is kind of like the least offensive out of the three.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, like this dude would be probably easily one of my top 3, but he comes with a lot of baggage that never really gets addressed.
Wait, are we allowed to say grape on Twitch?
Is there something against grape?
The thing that rhymes with grape. Remove the G.
It doesn't matter.
All right.
All right. I don't even need a full sense for her. I'm just gonna write this. Skip over this.
The girl with the pigtails?
Yeah, that's all she needs.
Girl with pigtails.
Like, she's not a bad character. It's just,
Lolly? Oh, okay. I barely know what that means. I don't want to know the definition.
Let's keep it at that.
I'm just
just
making terrible audio footage for those who are listening in the future. He's putting pictures up that like text over the image to describe the problems with these characters.
Like, oh yeah, I didn't even notice her because she was so small. That's the Queen of Dragons over here, by the way. So this chick is this chick small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of.
Yeah.
What do they call it?
Booblage window.
Yeah. It's a lot of. What's the meme? Badongalonga Conga. Like you just keep adding. You know what I mean, right? Keep adding syllables until it becomes like ridiculously long.
Yes. So, to answer Griffey's question, I'm gonna end with the blue cat and how the show ended, because I need to give Mason time to talk.
You know it's a great show when you're debating what's worse between arson and crucifixion, and the most likable character is designed to be inoffensively bland. Oh. That would be...
Alright.
Oh, I just got a Halloween topic. Ooh, I don't know if we could do that on Twitch, though. Yeah, we might be. It's
I can afford
okay.
I can afford the MC as I don't.
Let me clarify before everyone's like, "What on earth did you think of?" I was thinking darkest thing we've ever, like darkest moments we've ever read in a story. You know, Spooky Town. I read horror. I watch horror. I'm reading Warhammer 40k books. There's some messed up shit in those.
I mean, the stuff I'm gonna come up with is gonna be so much tame compared to you.
Oh.
All right. Now, I've never been a big fan of horror growing up. I was actually pretty squeamish.
Oh, I don't.
I appreciate a lot more.
It's more like existential. Well, not the Warhammer 40k stuff. That's all the horror combined. It's more existential.
Yeah. So, all right. Blue cat. So, the blue cat is an egg that got shipped over from an alternate reality of the one they live in, where it is a world without magic. So it's basically like he basically comes from an alternate reality of their world where there's no magic. So it's just like a funny haha, this is Elsa but slightly different. This is Lucy, but different. This is Gray, but different. And then you end up discovering that, like, it was such a convoluted fucking arc. Because, like, turns out that one of their teammates at the guild was, like, the alternate reality version of the childhood crush of Urza that traveled through space and time. I don't even remember why he did that. Then, like, he went. See, I'm not even mad. My rage is subsiding. I'm just desperate.
So
now.
what
I'm just
happened
like,
in the
the
end?
more I'm remembering this.
So what happened in the end? Let's get you out of this
some-
cycle. I'm pulling you away. I'm pulling you out of the relationship. I don't know if
All
I'm
right,
gonna do.
all right.
I'm
So
pulling you out. I'm pulling you out.
All right. So case in point, story, like, Dumb Blue Cat has, like, an entire arc dedicated to him. It was, like, kind of inoffensive, but, like, why? It's all right. So the final arc, and the thing that really cemented, like it was already kind of bad, but, like, that was the part that cemented this being the worst story I've ever read. And I've read a lot of stories. I've read a lot. I've considered a lot of media. Like, I've seen YouTube poops that have better narrative through lines than fairy tale, right? So, it's a war arc. Blah blah blah, yada yada yada. Stuff happened, kinda, I guess. So, so they're part of a magic guild, and you've seen fairy tale, so you know that part.
Yeah.
Makarov dies a grand total of 3 times in this show, and he comes back every time. Like, that man doesn't want to die. And, like, during the war arc, he's like, oh man, we're losing. He pulled a heroic sacrifice. That would have been really poetic if it actually lasted, right? Because I'm like, okay, like, we had 2 death fake outs with this dude. This one seems kind of definitive. Until, like, the spirit of the original Grandmaster of Fairy Tale emerges from the sky, just kisses his boo-boos, and just revives them from petrification. And I'm like, okay, nobody dies. Like, nobody can die in this. This is done. This like this 80-year-old man cannot die. You want me to believe that anybody else can? Bullshit. And like, dude, like, the manga YouTube community was losing its shit. It got so dumb, like Dustin said. Right. The whole Dragon Mom thing, the whole burning through time thing. Then they did a kind of villain switch out, because until, like, the big, like, emo boy showed up, there was, like, a background villain, the King of Dragons, Acnologia, and that dude was actually kind of a chat. Like, he was the best part of the entire show, because he was, like, the one threat that was consistent. Like, he was, like, the best part of the show, like, bar none. Like, every time he showed up, something interesting happened. And what ended up happening is that he had the power to consume all magic. Because, like, all the other dragon slayers, like, they can only eat the element. I'm using air quotes. They can only eat the element they're associated with. That dude could. The King of Dragons can eat all the magic. Right? So they're like, shit, how do we beat a dude who can eat all the magic? So they had the Giga Brain plan of trapping him into a fucking black hole and have him die that way. Which was like, okay, this is a good plan. I like this. So they dumped the dude in a black hole. Minor side characters die. Boo-hoo. And we thought, okay, the King of Dragon is dead. We won. But there was one big hiccup. The black hole was made of magic. So he ate his way out of a black hole like a boss. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. We're getting somewhere.
Right.
And because he absorbed the black hole, chucking someone in the black hole. Yeah, so he came out of the black hole. And he absorbed the magic of the black hole. So he gained like infinite power essentially, and they're like, oh shit, how are we gonna beat that? So he kidnaps all the dragons because like, yeah, I'm gonna kill all the dragons. I'm gonna destroy the world, and then I'm gonna kill myself. I just want to fuck everything up. So he kidnaps the dragons. He kidnaps the dragon slayers. He kidnaps all of them. Do you want to know how they beat him?
I just really want one of these mangas to have a character like that. It's like, he's immune to all magic. What do we use? Barrack 50 cal, and you just hear a sniper rifle crack in the distance. Headshot, he's... Oh my gosh. Do you want to know my favorite Star Wars lore?
Do tell. Oh, the when they started using silver, actual metal bullets and they couldn't deflect that.
For context, chat, in Knights of the Old Republic era, there is a three-way war between Sith, Jedi, and Mandalorians. I assume you know Star Wars, you know who those are, so basically space Buddhist Knight wizards versus evil space Buddhist Knight wizards versus basically space Spartans. And the space Spartans are like, oh, Mandalorians are like, oh, they can deflect our laser bolts, what are we going to do? So they brought out this old tech of like bolt-action rifles that we use today, and literally went, parry this, you fucking casual. And just, when the Jedi would block the bullets, it would be molten lead, and they'd die anyway. It's like, yeah, you know, like...
Do you know Ree?
Yeah, because, like...
Be mad?
Yeah, because, I don't know. It's like in the Harry Potter world where they say, like, why do none of the wizards use a gun? Which I would have swore there was something in the book about that. But anyway.
Yeah. So, try to guess how they beat the dude who has infinity magic, eats all magic, and is like the strongest motherfucker in the history of the series. Guess how they beat him.
They just do.
It's how they do.
Gosh, man, I don't know.
They
I
punch
can't
him with
predict
magic.
chaos. They punch him with, of course they punch him with magic. I can't predict chaos.
Yeah. They kill the dude who eats all magic by punching him in with magic once, and he dies off screen. Like we don't even see him die. Just battle ends, and that's the final fight. It's not even like a supercharged up punch with like all the all the magic of all their friends. The entire it's not even a spirit bomb. He just Natsu just made a punch with like these. He just made a punch with the energy of the 7 other people in the room, and he killed the King of Dragons.
Wait, Griffey, is that right? Wizards don't use guns because they're prejudiced pricks. This is canon. Rolling said a sniper could take out Voldemort. Come on. Oh, that makes so much sense for J.K. Rowling, though. Oh, no. Even Rick Riordan put something into his books where like monsters can only be killed by like celestial bronze or imperial gold. Like you could use bullets, but they just kind of shrug them off. The DZ. Oh, we're gonna have to do a Harry Potter episode. Oh, but you've never seen Harry Potter.
Nope.
No.
And I don't really feel like I missed much.
We can't talk about the terrible world building that is Harry Potter.
I mean, I would be fine with an episode just being like me, like actually like somebody who watched Harry Potter and just an outsider's perspective of it.
Oh, so you watch all the movies, you come back and you're like, well, that was a series.
Or even just like, hey, you read it, I didn't. Try to explain Harry Potter in the way that makes the most sense to you.
Oh, gosh.
And I just try to stomach it.
Okay. We do that for a lot of things, actually. That'd be so
But yeah. I skimmed through a lot of the most horrible moments, but needed to make this concise because there's a lot more. Yeah, this is my most hated story of all time.
Yep. Rowling said that wizards.
You can probably
okay,
see why.
For the Rowling said that wizards don't need to poop. I always thought that that was a joke, and then we learned the horrible, unfortunate truth. Because that sounds like a troll, right? Like. Anyway.
I mean, dude. I'm just happy that that Gandalf. Not Gandalf. That's the wrong series. That freaking Dumbledore was gay all along.
They have bathrooms. They do have bathrooms. It's a very big plot point in, I think, 3 of the books. They even had outhouses.
What I do is a lot of stuff seems to happen in the bathrooms in that series.
These bathrooms for public transit. There's a hidden dungeon in the bathroom. Like there are ghosts in the bathroom. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to do a Harry Potter episode at some point. Because that series aged like a fine cheese. Or no, aged like milk. That's the phrase. Aged like milk. It did not become cheese. And people try to put it up there on the shelf with Dracula. I'm like, get that out of here.
It aged like spoiled milk, I think you mean to say.
Bathrooms haunted. Cox shotgun. Bathrooms haunted. I cannot believe one foreign exchange student from Texas would have killed the Dark Lord easy.
Look, man, the Brits know better.
What could stop the Dark Lord of magic and evil sneaky boy? Modern military-grade equipment.
Actually, that could also make a very interesting episode. Just military fiction.
Ooh, military fiction?
Also, just like, hey, what would happen in X plot if we just added the realistic military stuff? Like,
I was just thinking about the Warhammer 40k universe. It's like, what happens if we add the normal military to the Warhammer 40k universe? They all die. Horrible, horrible deaths.
yeah, because I actually saw a video similar to that a while back. It was like, hey, what happens in My Hero? Like, why doesn't My Hero use guns? Like, oh, I have the power to, yeah. Like, freaking, I have the power to control jet streams and water. Okay, I'm a police officer. I shoot.
Yeah. Guns do a lot against fantasy fiction world. Like, I forget, there's a term for it where, like, your fiction world or your magic system is parallel to the real world. So it's like the Percy Jackson series, where Rick Riordan made these worlds that exist in our world. So it kind of breaks a lot of things.
Yeah. So yeah, Mason, your most hated story of all time, and I'm sorry to say, I doubt it's gonna generate more hate than mine. I'm sorry.
Oh no, because mine is laughably bad. Because here's the thing.
All right.
I want to be an author one day. I want to write books. It's what I'm going to do in the future. So when I read a series or watch a series, it's like I'm not looking at characters and like much of the consistency or anything like that you do. I'm looking at like a plot archetype, a character concept, how this character reacts with this character, pacing of the story, the order the story is in, its tone, its setting, how its world building is being built up and used later, foreshadowing, etc., etc. And I have seen and I saw a movie once that, ironically, a friend of mine was like, we should watch some movies tonight. And I'm like, all right. So what are we going to watch? And he said, we're going to watch a movie that is really, really, really good. That contemporary How to Train Your Dragon series is real. You know what? Any story can be good. It's how you execute it. I'm going to hold on to that until I die. Let's hope for the best. But anyway, he was like, I'm going to show you a movie that I legitimately think that you're going to enjoy. I'm like, okay. and then I'm going to show a movie that we all probably are going to hate. I'm like, okay. So in one night, I watched my favorite movie of all time, called Crimson Peak, directed by Guillermo del Toro. No, not Del Toro. No, it is Del Toro. And then the other movie was my least favorite movie of all time. So, hey, Thwill, do you remember Universal's Dark Universe? It's cinematic universe they tried to create?
Oh, is it The Mummy? Tell me it's The Mummy.
No! The Mummy wasn't the first one. Do you remember what the actual first movie was?
I had it on the tip of my tongue.
It was this little movie called Dracula Untold.
Wait, that was the first one?
That was the first one. It was supposed to launch the Dark Universe series, but it bombed. So they changed their mind and said, oh, no, it was actually Mummy. This is the one to launch it out.
So we start with Dracula and we finish with Dracula.
We finished with Dracula. I have never seen someone so misunderstand the source material. Because here's the thing. When you're adapting a movie, and you're adapting like a book or a TV series or anything, you can make changes. Either because of the series, the medium that you're using, some things aren't going to translate well, or you can add changes to like characters even, give them a little fluff, change them up a bit. As long as the adaptation works as a story, I'm fine with it. Like, one of the things later on that they add to Dracula in movies is that Mina Harker, like the wife of the guy from the beginning of the movie, looks exactly like Dracula's first wife, and he's like in love with her. They added that in later movies. That's fine. I was fine with that. It made sense. So, Dracula Untold, the only way I put it is they tried to make Dracula into like every Christian dad's favorite movie. You know what I mean? Like the Braveheart and the Gladiator, both great pretty good movies. I would say. I don't know about Braveheart, but Gladiator's pretty cool. So Dracula is he is the Prince of Wallachia, and he's a dark, misunderstood, brooding man who's forsaken, God and country because he is a horrible monster. And he has this family, and he loves his family, and he'll do anything for his family. Because he has a kid and a wife.
So he's Dom Toretto.
Sure. And so he goes up to this evil, I think it's like this Arabian prince, because the area of Transylvania got attacked a lot by Turkey, and that's where Vlad the Impaler fought Turkish sheiks and everything. So one of them is like, hey, give us your son so that we can train him into a warrior because we have a draft. And he's like, Lamau, no, I won't do it. I have to protect my family. And so they're like, fine, we're going to invade you. And he's like, fine, I have to protect my family and my kingdom, but also my family. So I'm going to become a vampire because there's this creepy old man in a cave somewhere who's like, Lamau, sell your soul. Drink this blood. It'll be really cool. You'll get a bunch of power. And he did. And then he gets all these superpowers. And he like goes onto the battlefield and starts like cutting people in half. So then, like, the tone of Dracula, it's so all over the place. And so, here's the thing. Said like that, I do it too. Yeah, the problem isn't There's a quote. There's a quote. I'm gonna try to find it. There's a quote that Dracula gives, and he's talking about his heritage in quotations, but he's actually talking about himself. That perfectly encapsulates like who he is as a character. I'm trying to find it.
Take your time. I'm doing a little bit of scrapbooking over here.
I'm not going to be able to find it. But he's talking about how okay. You know what? I'm going to find it for next week. Because it's at the beginning of the book. I'm going to find it next week, and I'm going to elaborate on it. Because if you read Dracula or listen to Dracula the book and then watch this movie, it's one of those moments where, like, all right, do I bring up all right, you ready for a hot topic?
Do tell. Because I was thinking that could make another good subject, just best and worst quote in fiction.
Oh yeah, we could do that. Okay, so let's talk about adaptations for a minute. Remember earlier when I said adaptations are if you want to change some things, you can change some things, but if you change it so much that it doesn't look like the original, then why call it the original? It's kind of like that.
That is the story of modern media in a nutshell, my dude.
So, I'm going to bring this up. So, you know the new Spider-Man movies? Tom Holland?
Yeah.
You know MJ?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's she doesn't act like MJ from the comics. She doesn't look like MJ from the comics. She doesn't even fill, I don't think, the same role as MJ from the comics. So, like, why call her MJ? It's that. It's like, it doesn't act like Dracula, walk like Dracula. Why call it Dracula? Because he's a vampire? Like, I'm explaining this poorly because I need to find that actual quote.
I mean, the thing with MJ, for me, it's like on that line. I think they stuck the landing because, like, she's MJ, but she's not Mary Jane. I feel like it's more of an Easter egg than just a replacement, right?
Yeah, it's more of an Easter egg, but it does bring up that question. Like,
yeah,
I'm fine with both. Honestly, I think MJ from the new Spider-Man trilogy is great, especially better than the Sam Raimi MJ. Oh boy, I said it. Yeah.
And
play clip of girlish.
Right,
yeah, play clip of scream. So then the Turkish army gets destroyed, and they're like, "Oh, we have to fight this man. Oh, we can only fight him during the night because of his powers. So we're gonna try to fight him now." But you know what the biggest problem with Dracula is? It's not his strength. It's not his super speed. It's not his fangs. It's not that he can rip someone in half. It's the fear he causes. So Thwill, how do you get an army to not fear Dracula?
You cast Restoration? Remove fear?
Nope.
Steroids?
Nope. I sent you an image.
Alright. Let's look at that. Of course. Of course. No!
Yes! You blindfold the army because you can't fear what you can't see. Put that shit up on stream. You can't fear what you can't see. So they blindfold the whole army and have them march to Dracula's palace.
Albert Hitchcock wants to know your location.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, chat doesn't believe me. Throw up the image.
I already did.
Oh, you did? Oh, stream is not. I'm going to reload the stream. Chat's working, but the actual stream isn't.
I'm 10 steps ahead of you.
Oh, I got an Adobe Photoshop ad. Great. Okay. Yeah, Smart Luxy Flip Stable. Yeah, so... Yep. So,
somebody got paid to write that.
Yep, and then so
somebody
they walk to the castle.
To write that.
Yep, millions of dollars to write that. It's not that we're not believing, we're just upset. I can't fight. So, and needless to say, the fight doesn't go well. But during the encounter, somebody got a dude-perfect lucky shot and hit the tower that Dracula's wife and son were on, and so they fall off the parapet of the castle, and they fall down and die. So he's uber pissed. So he transforms everyone in the city into vampires, and then they go invade the town, or like the army camp, and they start killing everyone.
As one does.
Yep. Oh, the son didn't die, the wife did. Because the general didn't blindfold himself, he just walked into the castle. Because he didn't, I don't know, he couldn't see, therefore he couldn't do anything.
So now being blindfolded is a penalty.
Yes, exactly. So then he fights his son. Well, he doesn't fight his son. He brings his son into his tent and is standing there and... According to history, work. Yeah. I mean, like, Viking berserkers fought buck-ass nude on the battlefield because a crazy man with foam coming out of his mouth running at you with two axes while naked is going to freak some people out. And Thwill, what's a vampire weakness?
Wouldn't stick to the heart. Sunlight. Garlic. Not being invited to someone's house.
According to the Dark Universe, Dracula Untold, you're wrong. It's silver. It's silver. And not like a silver bullet or sword, but like you put a silver coin next to Dracula, he starts convulsing. So the final fight...
Let me do something real quick. I'm just gonna do something.
Oh, there's no good image. He's like fighting this guy on a pile of silver coins. And the screen is like covered in lens flares and flashing at stuff everywhere. It's like wearing silver armor. can't find a picture of it because this movie's just like jewelry, like it's like gold coin, like a bunch of silver coins are on the ground, and like silver pots, and yeah, like jewelry necklaces are hanging from the ceiling, and he fights and almost beats Dracula. And then in the end, Dracula's like, oh my gosh, all these vampires are going to eat my son, so we're going to just kill them all. Sun comes out. Oh, Dracula can control weather, by the way. He can just make it cloudy, and then the sun weakness is gone.
Okay, that's an ability I could actually kind of see actual Dracula having.
Well, that's true. That's not my problem. The problem is he used it. I'm explaining why all of a sudden it became sunny and all the vampires died. Not him.
I see.
Christian Dracula dad dies to silver. He also controls bats and makes it turn into a fist, and like kaiju beats up an army.
I cast fist.
Yep. It's just like, it's so... The person who wrote this never read Dracula. I don't even think they've seen a vampire movie. Yeah, the kaiju bat fist was actually pretty sweet, but at that point I was like, this is dumb. All of this is dumb. Dadula. It basically removed all the aspects that makes Dracula Dracula and inserted it with something else that wasn't. And it didn't work. And then they're like, why would this movie fail? Because Dracula is... It's subtle. It doesn't sound subtle, but it is subtle. It's a subtle terror. The fact that the old man sitting at the park bench could rip you in half, and would, but you know what? He just can't be asked to. Dracula has been described as like an incarnation of evil. You know who doesn't need a sympathetic backstory? Dracula doesn't. Because he's a monster. Like, that's the point of the book.
Sweats in Castlevania.
Sweats in Castlevania, yeah.
I like Castlevania, though.
Can't believe Dracula was better written in Hotel Transylvania. If Adam Sandler portrayed Dracula better, then you should just give up writing. Yeah, I give more lenience to Hotel Transylvania because it's, you know, it's for kids.
A comedy.
It's a comedy. It's a family film. I'm not going to scream at Dracula in a family film if he doesn't rip someone in half. Because, you know, children's media. But it's basically taking something and turning it into something it's not. For the sake of marketing.
But I like marketing. I like money.
I'm trying to think of an example.
Are you telling me I'm not allowed to like money?
You know what Dracula Untold's like? It's like making a Superman movie where he doesn't smile and just destroys the environment around him as he beats up Zod. It's like you've missed the point.
I mean, who would do that?
Yeah, who would do that?
That sounds kind of dumb.
Who would do that?
That would miss the point. I mean,
biggest hack in Hollywood. That's who would do it.
Stein, get out of here. What's that?
Batman v Superman? Oh, it was real. That was a real movie. Yeah, I said it. I think Zack Snyder's the biggest hack in Hollywood. Have I told you that? Literally all his successes are based off of other people.
Because the thing with Zack Snyder is that, okay, he is a very good visual director. And that's the problem. Like, you can't make a good movie with just visuals, unfortunately.
Why is he the writer, though? He's like the writer in everything. You know, the one, everyone's like, oh, that one good Zack Snyder movie, you know, the zombie movie, I can't remember what it was called. It's like Day of the Dead or something like that. I can't remember. Let me look it up. Zack Snyder. Wikipedia. Dawn of the Dead. You know who wrote Dawn of the Dead?
Me.
James Gunn. the entire movie hinges on Mary. Oh, it's not Mary, it's Martha. It's Martha.
Again, my problem with the Martha scene is I get what they were going for, and it could have worked.
Yeah, but it didn't.
But it didn't.
Oh, I don't care. Fair enough. Fair enough. It could have worked, but why did you say that name? Yeah, that could be another topic. So originally we were going to talk about if we had to rewrite the series, which series would we rewrite and what would it turn into? And I think we're going to have to save that for, well, we do have to save it for next time because
oh yeah,
LMAO.
Oh boy.
So we learned that you've learned some of our favorites, everyone. You've learned some of our least favorites. But you kind of know where we're coming from in the future. So next week we're going to be talking about we're going to be talking about a series that we would rewrite and kind of flex our writing thinkingness. So I kind of want to bait everyone, and not bait everyone, but like give them a little teaser of next week. So I was actually excited for my choice because I wanted to know how people would react.
Yeah.
So
as for me, I might actually rethink what I was gonna pick.
Oh, you sly dog! You just don't want to release it yet.
Well,
I could throw mine out there because it's going to be a surprise for people who know me. Series I would love to get a hold of and rewrite from step 1 all the way through is actually Bleach.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Good old Big 3 Bleach from the animus and the mangas.
Yeah. Yeah. Because ooh, thanks for following Smart Luxy. I didn't notice that. Damn it, Griffey.
Rewrite The Last of Us 2. Somebody said Naruto. Pretty good answers. It's a fun experiment to think of, like, because it's more fun to talk about things that had good and bad, like, potential. You know? So what was your original answer, Thwill? Let's tease the audience a little bit.
I was gonna rewrite The Last of Us.
Oh, really? Oh, The Last of Us. Okay. The first one or the second one?
I mean, it's a series.
Oh,
so.
The whole thing. Ooh.
But now I'm thinking about it. It's like, man, I have an idea that would make me want to cry, and I feel like I would spend like an hour and a half just with my pick.
Will rewrite that fairy tale.
Fuck no.
Delete it.
That thing doesn't deserve. That thing doesn't deserve me. Fuck that. Yeah, no. Funnily enough, my two ideas are actually okay. One of the ideas I'm potentially having is a fighting game.
Oh, rewrite a fighting game
but yeah,
story? Huh.
Yes. But again, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. I think fighting games are hard to write because you have to. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, because I have two picks right now. It's either I rewrite Guilty Gear, or I rewrite Kingdom Hearts.
Oh.
Both of those, my work is gonna be cut out for me.
Oh my gosh, dude. Bro. Rewrite Kingdom Hearts and Bleach. I thought chat was going to be yelling at me today. I think they're going to start yelling at you. They're like, why would you rewrite Kingdom Hearts?
Actually, let's do that. You know what, chat? I'm gonna let you decide. I'm gonna let you decide my fate for
It's a little bit easier just to rewrite Sword Art Online or Fairy Tail. Why do you hate yourself? Oh, Sword Art Online. I never watched it. I don't think I will. But...
I mean, okay, to be fair, I don't need to rewrite Sword Art Online because the author did that by himself, and apparently the revisions are actually pretty decent. So.
Oh my gosh, a shonen manga author got to rewrite and edit his work, and it became better? Holy shit! Someone call the police!
I mean, to be fair, no. I mean, actually, it started out as a light novel. So, yeah, it was just a light novel that somebody picked up, like, yeah, we're gonna adapt that. Turned out to be super popular, and he's like, man, I wrote that 10 years ago on a wet napkin. That was kind of bad. Can I redo it? And he redid it.
Dang.
Yeah, because light novels are pretty big in Japan, so.
That's fine.
How do I make polls on Twitch again? Ah, there we go.
I don't know. Yeah,
there
everyone vote what you want Thwill to work on, because I'm pretty set on Bleach.
Yeah. And you know what? I have an extra curveball I'm gonna throw your way.
Oh.
But I'm not gonna say it until next week.
Well, if I gotta prep for it, then alright, whatever.
No, I want the surprise. I want to take you off guard.
Okay.
So I'm warning you that I want to take you off guard, but I'm not gonna tell you what's
how you're gonna take me off guard. All right.
Yeah. All right. So, Kingdom Hearts, Guilty Gear. You know what, chat? I'm in a good mood. Just throw at me a bunch of other stuff you'd like me to potentially rewrite. I'm gonna put it on the poll. I'm feeling just and benevolent today.
How about rewriting Final Fantasy?
The War arc in Bleach. I mean, the War arc in Bleach is a lot better than people give it credit for. It's mostly that. I mean, hopefully the anime might do it justice, but
well,
on a
Cars
reread.
2.
Cars 2. Oh, okay, read the Cars franchise. Okay, let's go. I'm putting it. Let's go.
Next week, Cars. Oh, we have to talk about Twilight at some point.
Oh, fuck me. Twilight? Rewrite Twilight? Okay. Alright, I'm putting those.
Movie.
Nah, we said series. There's no series. How did they make a trilogy out of Cars, man?
Well, somebody had to get paid too. That's actually a topic I had an idea for us for a podcast. Is like, you know, you're given a toy, write a series about it. Because those stopped happening in the 90s. Then like 80s and 90s was really big for, at least for my childhood.
All right.
I don't know when you were alive. But, oh, there we go. You're actually putting the Cars trilogy on there? It's not both of us, by the way. This is just Thwill. Are you really gonna? I feel like we have to do the Cars trilogy just as a meme.
No. It's the chat's power now. It's in the hands of the chat.
Oh my gosh. I don't know which one I'm voting for, but.
Hey, no, you're my co-host. You don't get to vote on this.
All right.
Okay, you can. I don't care.
I already cast my vote, so I can't send it in again. So.
Motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to post a link in chat. Hey, if you enjoyed this, I can't post it in chat. It's not letting me. Big sad. Hey Thwill, you should. Oh, that's because it's an image. Okay. I was like, wait, it's not letting me.
You need
hey, everyone, if you enjoyed this, you should definitely head over to this YouTube channel, and you should give it the old subscribe, because I'll be putting the audio version of this podcast up there, as well as podcasts in the future. We'll be doing this again next week. I think high noon EST. It's the time.
Yeah.
High noon EST.
I won't have exams next week, so that's gonna be great.
I won't have exams either next week, so that's gonna be really good.
Because after this, I'm going back to studying for physics.
Ha ha! Physics lessons. Oh, I'm Mason, also known as Slowpoke Writer. That's Thwill. Say hi, Thwill.
I hate all of you.
Yeah. And that's it. That's it for the podcast. What should our sign off be? Have a good day. Go fuck yourself, and
my stand-up will be, and always remember, I do dumb decisions because I hate myself.
yeah. I love the idea of our sign off being, we love you, fuck you, and have a good day. I like that a lot, actually. Also, think of names for the podcast, because we don't have that. This is just going up as unnamed podcast. Fuck you, bye, love you all. Exactly.
YOLO, bye, kiss my millennial ass.
Right,